Some of life's most important lessons come when everything falls apart. When your plans fail, when the call you were waiting for doesn't come, or when the person you relied on leaves. It's in these moments, when silence becomes deafening and the weight of the world feels unbearable, that we realize true strength isn't something we are born with. It's something we build from the rubble of our challenges. And this is where Stoicism enters our lives, not as a theory or a nice quote, but as a real, practical tool. Stoicism teaches us that we don't need to wait for external circumstances to align to find peace and strength. When everything around us seems unstable, the Stoics give us the tools to reset our mindset and rebuild. This isn't about chasing after quick fixes or trendy hacks. It's about grounding ourselves in wisdom that has stood the test of centuries. These principles aren't abstract. They are actionable ways to deal with overthinking, emotional exhaustion, setbacks, and the pressure that comes with trying to hold everything together. Whether you're feeling stuck or quietly craving change, what you'll hear in the next parts is designed to anchor you in something stronger than fleeting motivation. Stoicism is not about being cold or distant. It's about learning how to stay steady when everything around you seems to be falling apart. It's about having the clarity to act, the discipline to wait, and the strength to let go. When you start to realize that it's not about reacting to everything that happens, but responding with intention, you begin to understand the power of Stoicism. This shift in mindset doesn't just inspire you, it equips you with a framework to stay grounded in even the most chaotic situations. If you feel this resonates with you, and you're ready to start building that steady foundation, hit that subscribe button. By doing so, you're committing to a life of purpose, not just passing through. Do you know why silence is so uncomfortable for many people? It's because silence exposes us. But here's where the first Stoic principle comes into play. Silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. In a world that's obsessed with being heard, learning to listen gives you an edge. When you listen, you learn. When you speak less, you see more. Silence is not passive. It's one of the strongest acts of self-discipline. Yet, most people rush to fill the silence with noise, as though quiet itself is something to fear. The Stoics, however, knew better. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This is not just clever, it's essential. Because in silence, truth has the space to rise. When you resist the urge to respond immediately and allow space between reaction and reply, you gain clarity. And clarity is power. Silence also reveals. People who are at peace with themselves can sit quietly without fidgeting or nervously reaching for their phones. They don't feel the need to dominate the conversation. Constant talking, on the other hand, often masks insecurity. It's a form of running from reflection, from discomfort, and from vulnerability. But silence invites all of that. It forces us to slow down, to meet ourselves where we are. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." But the truth is, the soul speaks loudest in those quiet moments. So, if you can get comfortable with silence, you're already doing what most people avoid. You're turning inward, listening deeply, and building something unshakable inside yourself. This kind of listening doesn't just change how you relate to yourself. It transforms how you relate to others. It teaches you to hear what isn't said, the tone, the hesitation, the silence between the words. That's where real understanding lives. When people feel truly heard, they open up, they trust, and that's when genuine connection begins. And that's a powerful strength to have. Socrates once said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." This mindset only comes when you let go of the need to dominate a conversation and instead step into the role of the learner. Every room you walk into becomes a classroom, and every person you meet becomes a teacher. But this only happens when you shut your mouth and open your mind. It's easy to think that speaking is the way to assert ourselves, to make our mark. But when you speak just to be heard, you miss so much. You trade knowledge for ego, and ego is a poor teacher. The next time you're in a conversation, try this. Say less than you usually would, not to be mysterious or aloof, but to be present. Let others talk. Let the silence stretch a little longer than feels comfortable. Pay attention to what rises in you. That discomfort? That's where growth begins. Plato once said, Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. This truth cuts deep because it forces us to ask ourselves, when I speak, am I adding value, or am I just avoiding discomfort? Silence isn't about withholding, it's about refining. You become more selective with your words, more intentional with your presence. And that's when people start to notice. You walk differently. You listen fully. You carry yourself with a quiet strength instead of loud uncertainty. That's what Stoicism gives you. A new relationship with silence. A way to stop reacting and start observing. In that space between impulse and action, that's where you reclaim your power. What if your setbacks weren't meant to break you, but to shape you? Stoicism invites us to see failure not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. Every mistake reveals where you're not free yet, where your ego, impatience, or expectations still rule. But loss teaches us something powerful if we let it. And the lesson is often simple. Even if it's not easy, you are not your failure. You are the one observing it, the one growing through it. As Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But that acceptance is the beginning of all real strength. When something falls apart, we often rush to fix it or worse, to forget it. We bury the disappointment, avoid the feeling, cover it with distraction or false optimism. But the Stoics took a different path. They didn't see failure as a wall but as a mirror. It's not there to block you, but to show you what still needs to be seen. Maybe you were too attached to a result. Maybe you were chasing an idea of success that never really belonged to you. In that mirror, you meet your real self, the one who's still learning. That's the quiet brilliance of Stoicism. It doesn't promise comfort, it offers clarity. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Pain becomes your personal trainer, not a punishment, but a practice. Each rejection, each dead end, each misstep becomes a kind of spiritual sandpaper, smoothing out the parts of you that still cling to what cannot last. The fear of failure is often just the fear of being exposed, of being seen as not enough. But as Socrates reminds us, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. And there's freedom in that. Because once you release the need to always win, to always impress, to always be right, you can finally start learning, really learning, without fear, without shame, and without the crushing pressure of perfection. Life becomes less about avoiding the fall and more about mastering the recovery. The Stoic doesn't ask, "How do I never fail?" They ask, "What will I become because of this?" And that shift in perspective changes everything. You're no longer a victim of the moment. You're a sculptor, carving meaning from the raw stone of adversity. Plato believed that the measure of a man is what he does with power. But power isn't always dominance or control. Sometimes it's restraint. Sometimes it's humility. Sometimes it's standing back up without applause, without attention, and deciding to move forward anyway. That kind of strength doesn't come from ease. It's earned in silence, in private battles no one sees. So when the next failure comes, and it will, meet it without panic. Let it open you. Let it teach you where your peace is still conditional. Let it remind you that growth doesn't come from things going right. It comes from choosing who you'll be when things go wrong. This is the Stoic path, not the avoidance of suffering, but the transformation of it. And if you're still here, still listening, still reflecting, that says something. You're not just interested in ideas. You're ready for change. And that's rare. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing. It's a simple act, but it shows that you're committed to living with purpose, not just passing through life. That small decision might be the first of many that bring you back to yourself. Now, let's dive deeper into the next principle. Do you ever feel like you're drowning in the weight of your own thoughts? Trying to keep it together while anxiety chips away at your energy, focus, and peace of mind? You're not alone. In fact, this struggle is part of the human experience, but it's one that Stoicism helps us navigate with strength and clarity. This next Stoic principle invites you to see your anxiety and stress not as something to fight, but as something to manage, by learning to let go of what you cannot control. We spend so much of our lives trying to control what is outside of us. We try to bend reality to our will. We fight the timing, the outcomes, and even the choices of others, as though we have the right to decide for them. But the Stoics teach us that peace doesn't come from getting our way. It comes from learning to let go of what was never ours to manage in the first place. There's a strange kind of suffering that comes from constantly reaching outside of yourself. You try to control how others see you, how they feel, what they'll do next. You get caught up in the web of other people's expectations. The more you try to grip the external world, the more it slips through your fingers. That tension, that anxious grasping, it robs you of your center. You become reactive, exhausted, drained by things you were never meant to carry. And the painful part is, you don't even realize how heavy it's been until you finally put it down. The Stoics were not emotionless. They were grounded, rooted in what was real. Their thoughts, their reactions, their attitudes. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." That's the line. Once you understand where that line is, you stop wasting your energy on the storms you can't steer. Think about it. How much of your energy is spent trying to control things outside of your grasp? How many times have you let the opinions of others, the actions of people around you, or the uncontrollable events in your life steal your peace? The Stoics would remind you that these external factors are not yours to control, and when you stop trying to force them into submission, you reclaim your energy, your peace, and your power. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That's the essence of this principle. It's not about detaching from the world or becoming indifferent. It's about embracing radical responsibility. You don't give up. You show up fully, but only where your energy can make a real difference. You learn to respond rather than react. To step back and ask, is this mine to hold? And when it's not, you let it go, not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. In that space between stimulus and response, something powerful begins to grow. Patience, clarity, a sense of self that doesn't rise and fall with someone else's mood or the chaos of the day. You start to act from your values, not from your impulses. You move with intention, not fear. This is the kind of freedom that doesn't need to be loud to be real. It's a quiet strength that comes from knowing where your boundaries lie and living with integrity to those boundaries. As you begin to practice letting go, you'll notice a shift. You're no longer thrown off by every inconvenience or change of plan. You start to act with intention. You stop explaining yourself as much. You trust your own pace, your own direction. And the truth is, not everything needs your reaction. Not every opinion needs defending. Not every storm deserves your emotional investment. Aristotle once said, "What lies in our power to do lies in our power not to do." This isn't about doing less for the sake of laziness or passivity. It's about being more deliberate. You start to choose your battles wisely, responding only to what truly matters. And in that space of deliberate action, you reclaim your peace and clarity. This is Stoicism at its core. A new relationship with control, a shift from trying to manage the external world to mastering your internal world. It's about letting go of what you can't control so that you can fully embrace what you can. As you practice this principle, you'll discover the quiet power of choosing your responses carefully. You'll stop reacting out of impulse or frustration. Instead, you'll act with purpose, based on your values. And that, ultimately, is where your power lies. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on what you've been holding on to that isn't yours to control. What can you let go of today? What's keeping you from living with greater peace and intention? Now, let's move on to the next principle. What if your setbacks weren't meant to break you, but to shape you? Stoicism invites us to view failure, not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. Each failure is not a reflection of your worth. It's a mirror showing you where your growth still lies. The Stoics teach that every misstep, every rejection, and every challenge carries an invaluable lesson. It's not about avoiding difficulty, it's about learning how to grow through it. In every failure, there's an opportunity to observe. You are not your failure. You are the one who witnesses it, who learns from it. This mindset shift is the bedrock of resilience. When you look at failure this way, it no longer feels like a wall blocking your path. It becomes a lesson, a moment of transformation. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." But this acceptance is the starting point of real strength. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't see failure as a permanent defeat but as a stepping stone toward something greater. It's through our failures that we discover the parts of ourselves that need refining. Perhaps it's our attachment to outcomes, our impatience, or our high expectations. But in this space of discomfort, we meet our true selves. And in meeting ourselves, we become stronger. Seneca wisely wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." When you face hardship, you're not just enduring pain, you're building resilience. Pain becomes your personal trainer, not a punishment, but a practice. Every rejection, every dead end, every misstep smooths out the rough edges of who you are. The Stoics didn't shy away from pain, they welcomed it as a tool for growth. Yet, the fear of failure is often simply the fear of being exposed. The fear that if we fail, we'll be seen as inadequate, weak, or not enough. But as Socrates reminds us, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. And there is great freedom in that knowledge. When you let go of the need to always win, to always impress, to always be right, you open the door to real growth. You stop trying to be perfect and start learning from your mistakes. This shift in perspective is profound. The Stoic does not ask, "How do I never fail?" They ask, "What will I become because of this?" It's not about avoiding failure, it's about asking what the failure can teach you. This mindset change transforms the way you approach every challenge. No longer a victim of circumstances, you become a sculptor, shaping meaning and strength from adversity. Plato believed that the measure of a man is what he does with power. Power, however, is not always about dominance. Sometimes it's about restraint. Sometimes it's about humility. Sometimes it's about standing up again after a fall, without the need for applause or recognition, and choosing to move forward regardless. That kind of strength doesn't come from comfort. It's earned through facing adversity. It's earned in the silence of private battles, where no one sees the struggle. And when the next failure comes, and it will, meet it without panic. Let it teach you where your peace is still conditional. Let it remind you that growth doesn't come from things going right. It comes from choosing who you will be when things go wrong. This is the Stoic path, not the avoidance of suffering, but the transformation of suffering into growth. And if you're still here, still reflecting on these ideas, that says something about your commitment to change. You're not just passively absorbing information, you're actively engaging with it, ready to embrace a more resilient version of yourself. If you're ready to dive even deeper into the wisdom of Stoicism, consider subscribing. It's not just about learning more, it's about taking action. The decision to engage with this wisdom can be the start of something much bigger. A transformation that continues step by step, principle by principle. Let's now move on to the next principle, where we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to confront and embrace fear, rather than let it control us. Fear, it's one of the most powerful emotions we face. It can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in place, preventing us from stepping forward into the unknown. But what if we told you that fear, in the Stoic tradition, isn't something to avoid or be controlled by? Instead, it's something to face head-on, understand, and transform into a tool for growth. The Stoics teach us that fear is often rooted in our attachment to outcomes. We fear failure, rejection, judgment, and the unknown because we expect them to define us, to strip us of our worth. But Stoicism flips this perspective. It shows us that the only thing we need to fear is our own response to external events. How we react in the face of fear, and how we choose to move forward despite it, is what shapes our character. Take a moment to reflect on the fears that have held you back. How many times have you avoided pursuing something meaningful because you were afraid of the outcome? Perhaps it was the fear of failing, the fear of being judged, or the fear of not measuring up to others' expectations. The Stoics would remind us that these fears are not necessarily real. They are simply projections of our own insecurities, our desires for control, and our longing for approval. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This is a powerful truth because it highlights how often our fears are exaggerated, blown out of proportion by our own minds. Most of the things we fear never come to pass. The rejection we imagine rarely happens. The failure we dread is often not as catastrophic as we anticipate. But in the moments of fear, our minds convince us that the worst is inevitable. The Stoic way of dealing with fear is not to suppress it, but to embrace it. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, often wrote about the power of adversity to strengthen the soul. He understood that the true test of courage is not in the absence of fear, but in the ability to act despite it. Courage, in the Stoic sense, isn't the lack of fear, it's the decision to face fear and move through it with wisdom and intention. Epictetus taught that, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle is especially relevant when it comes to fear. We can't always control the events in our lives, but we can control how we respond to them. Fear may come, but it doesn't have to dictate our actions. We have the power to choose how we approach challenges and uncertainty. The question isn't, how do I avoid fear? It's, how do I rise above it? This is where Stoic courage comes into play. Courage isn't about running headfirst into danger without hesitation. It's about having the strength to confront our fears, to sit with the discomfort they bring, and to still move forward. It's about choosing to act from a place of clarity, not fear. It's about remembering that we don't have to have all the answers or know the outcome before taking the first step. One of the most profound aspects of Stoicism is its focus on accepting the things we cannot control. Fear is often rooted in a desire to control the uncontrollable, whether it's the outcome of an event, how others will perceive us, or how a situation will unfold. But when we accept that some things are simply beyond our grasp, we free ourselves from the weight of constant worry and anxiety. By confronting our fears with a mindset grounded in Stoic principles, we begin to shift our relationship with them. Fear becomes a signal not to retreat, but to take a closer look at what we value, what we can control, and what we must let go. In this process, we uncover a deeper layer of courage, the kind that allows us to act, not in spite of fear, but because we've chosen to embrace it and use it as a stepping stone for growth. As you face your own fears, ask yourself this: what would you do if you weren't afraid? What decisions would you make? What actions would you take? The Stoics remind us that fear isn't an obstacle, it's a call to action. It's an invitation to step into the unknown with courage and strength. If you're ready to learn how to confront your fears and build a more resilient mindset, consider subscribing. The journey to Stoic courage begins with the first step, the decision to face your fears rather than run from them. And as you continue on this path, you'll find that each fear you conquer builds a stronger, more grounded version of yourself. Let's now continue with the next principle, where we'll discuss how Stoicism teaches us to build true, lasting peace. In a world that is constantly in motion, filled with distractions, expectations, and pressures, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We get caught up in the noise, the never-ending stream of information, the rush to achieve more, the chase for approval, and in the process, we forget what it means to have true peace. But Stoicism offers us a path back to that serenity. It teaches us that peace is not something we find in the external world, it's something we build within ourselves. The first step to inner peace, according to Stoicism, is understanding that we cannot control everything. We cannot control the actions of others, the twists and turns of life, or the unpredictable nature of the world. But we can control how we respond to what happens. We can choose our thoughts, our attitudes, and our actions. And that choice is where true peace begins. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." This simple but profound idea forms the foundation of Stoic peace. When we stop trying to control things that are beyond our reach, we free ourselves from the anxiety and frustration that often accompany our attempts to manipulate the world around us. Instead, we focus on what we can control, our own minds and actions. In every situation, there is a moment of choice. When something doesn't go as planned, or when we face an unexpected challenge, we can either react with frustration, anger, or fear, or we can choose to respond with calm, clarity, and acceptance. The Stoics believed that this choice, this ability to pause and reflect before reacting, is what separates those who live in peace from those who live in turmoil. The key to cultivating this inner peace is through the practice of mindfulness, of being fully present in the moment, rather than getting lost in past regrets or future worries. When we're present, we can observe our thoughts and feelings without becoming consumed by them. We can see our emotions as they arise, but we don't let them control us. We acknowledge them and then let them pass. This mindfulness isn't about suppression or avoidance. It's about creating space between the stimulus, the thing that triggers us, and our response, how we choose to react. In that space, we find our power. By practicing this, we build a sense of inner calm that doesn't depend on what's happening around us. We stop looking for external validation, approval, or certainty, and instead find peace in knowing that we are enough, just as we are. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote about the importance of focusing on the present moment. He advised himself to remember that very little is needed to make a happy life. This is a key Stoic insight. Happiness and peace aren't found in external circumstances, they are found in the way we choose to engage with life. When we stop demanding more than what is necessary, when we learn to find contentment with what we have, we discover a deeper, more enduring peace. This inner peace doesn't mean we won't face difficulties. It doesn't mean that life won't be challenging or painful at times. Stoicism acknowledges that suffering is a part of the human experience. But it also teaches that suffering can be transformative. It can be an opportunity for growth, for self-reflection, and for building resilience. When we embrace the idea that peace is something we create from within, we begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to practice our Stoic principles. Each setback becomes a chance to strengthen our ability to respond with wisdom, rather than react with impulse. Each moment of discomfort is an invitation to find stillness within. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for cultivating peace is the concept of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This is the practice of mentally preparing ourselves for difficulties before they arise. It's not about dwelling on the negative or expecting the worst, but about acknowledging that adversity is part of life and that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. By anticipating hardship, we can approach it with greater calm, knowing that we have the inner strength to navigate it. This practice also helps us to let go of the illusion that we can avoid all pain and suffering. The Stoics understood that discomfort is not a sign of failure or weakness, but a natural part of life. When we accept this, we stop resisting the inevitable and start embracing it as an opportunity for growth. As you begin to implement these Stoic practices, you'll notice a shift. Your responses to life's challenges will become more measured and thoughtful. You'll stop reacting out of fear or frustration, and instead act from a place of clarity and purpose. Your inner peace will no longer be tied to external circumstances, but will come from a deeper, more enduring source, your own ability to choose how you respond. If this journey toward inner peace resonates with you, consider subscribing. By committing to this path, you're not just seeking tranquility, you're learning to live with intention, to cultivate a peace that is built on your values and actions, rather than on the whims of the world. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. Resilience is often seen as the ability to bounce back from adversity, but the Stoics take it one step further. Resilience, for them, isn't just about surviving hardship, it's about transforming it. It's about using the struggles we face to become stronger, wiser, and more grounded in our values. The Stoic mindset helps us not only endure life's challenges but also embrace them as opportunities to practice our virtues and grow. In the Stoic tradition, hardship is not a curse, but a tool for self-mastery. When we experience setbacks, losses, or challenges, they are not there to break us. They're there to show us where we need to strengthen ourselves. Every difficulty reveals an area of our life where we have not yet developed resilience. It exposes our weaknesses and gives us the chance to build the mental and emotional fortitude necessary to overcome them. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoic philosophers, taught that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. This simple yet profound analogy illustrates the Stoic view of adversity. Just as the body grows stronger when it is exercised and challenged, so too does the mind and spirit when faced with hardship. The key, however, is how we approach that adversity. Do we allow it to overwhelm us, or do we use it to fuel our growth? The Stoics believed that resilience comes from the practice of acceptance and discipline. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean we resign ourselves to suffering or injustice. Rather, it means we acknowledge that certain things are beyond our control and that we must focus on our response to them. We cannot always control the events that happen in our lives, but we can control how we choose to respond. This acceptance is the first step toward resilience. In every difficult situation, the Stoic asks, "What is within my control?" They focus not on what they cannot change, but on their ability to adjust their thoughts, emotions, and actions in response. This focus on what we can control is incredibly empowering. It shifts our mindset from one of helplessness to one of agency. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, we become active participants in our own growth. The practice of resilience is also tied to the idea of living in accordance with nature. Stoicism teaches that we are part of a larger order, one that includes both beauty and hardship. Life is full of cycles, and the Stoics believed that just as we experience moments of joy, we will also face moments of suffering. Neither of these are permanent states. They are part of the natural ebb and flow of life. By understanding this, we can develop a sense of equanimity. We can enjoy the good times without clinging to them and face the difficult times without fearing them. One powerful Stoic practice for building resilience is to engage in what's called negative visualization. This technique involves imagining the worst-case scenario, the thing you fear the most, and mentally preparing for it. By considering what could go wrong, we reduce the power it holds over us. We come to terms with the possibility of loss or hardship, which paradoxically makes it easier to endure when it comes. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling on the negative, it's about accepting the reality that nothing in life is guaranteed, and that by preparing ourselves mentally, we can face whatever comes with a steady heart. This practice also helps us build a sense of gratitude. When we stop taking the good things in life for granted and instead acknowledge their impermanence, we develop a deeper appreciation for what we have. It's easy to take things for granted when we believe they will always be there. But when we realize that life is fleeting, we become more present, more grateful for the moments we have, and more resilient in the face of loss. The Stoic concept of resilience also involves training our minds to stay focused on what is truly important. When we face adversity, it's easy to become distracted by worries, complaints, and fears. But the Stoic path teaches us to stay anchored in our values, to focus on what we can control, and to trust that, in the end, it's our character that defines us, not the circumstances we face. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Resilience, in part, comes from the ability to be content with what we have and to avoid the endless chase for more. This is a powerful reminder that happiness and peace do not come from external success, wealth, or recognition. They come from cultivating an internal sense of contentment, from knowing that we are enough as we are, regardless of the challenges life presents. As you continue on your journey, remember that resilience is not a trait we are born with, it's a skill we develop. Every challenge, every difficulty, is an opportunity to practice and strengthen this skill. The more we embrace adversity with the Stoic mindset, seeing it not as a threat but as a chance for growth, the more resilient we become. And as we build that resilience, we also build the strength to stay grounded, no matter what life throws our way. If you found this idea of resilience inspiring, consider subscribing to keep exploring the wisdom of Stoicism. By doing so, you're not just seeking to endure life's challenges, you're learning to thrive through them. Each step you take, each principle you apply, brings you closer to becoming a person who can face anything with strength and clarity. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how to use gratitude to build lasting peace and contentment. Gratitude is often seen as a simple feeling, a quick response to something good that happens in our lives. But for the Stoics, gratitude is a profound practice, a way of engaging with life that transforms our perspective and builds lasting contentment. In a world that constantly urges us to want more, to chase the next goal, the Stoic practice of gratitude invites us to pause and reflect on what we already have. At the core of Stoic gratitude is the understanding that happiness does not come from accumulating more things or achieving more success. It comes from appreciating the present moment and recognizing the value in what we already possess. In our modern world, we are often conditioned to believe that we need more to be happy. More money, more recognition, more success. But the Stoics remind us that real peace and contentment are found in appreciating what we already have, in accepting life as it is, rather than constantly striving for what we think we lack. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently reminded himself to be grateful for the simple things. He acknowledged the small blessings of life, the ability to think, the ability to reason, the opportunity to live in accordance with nature. He didn't take these things for granted. Every day, he practiced gratitude for the moments and experiences that many of us overlook in our pursuit of more. The Stoics taught that one of the most powerful ways to cultivate gratitude is through reflection. It's easy to get caught up in what we don't have, what's missing, or what's going wrong in our lives. But when we take the time to reflect on what we do have, our relationships, our health, our abilities, and the simple pleasures of daily life, we begin to see just how much there is to be grateful for. This shift in perspective doesn't require external changes. It requires an internal shift, a decision to focus on what is already present and valuable in our lives. One of the key Stoic practices for cultivating gratitude is called negative visualization, which we've touched on before. This technique involves mentally preparing for the possibility of loss, and in doing so, it helps us appreciate what we have while we still have it. When we imagine losing something, a loved one, our health, our job, or even our freedom, we start to see how much value these things hold. This practice doesn't make us anxious or fearful. Rather, it deepens our appreciation for the present and reminds us that life is precious because it is fleeting. This is not to say that we should dwell on loss or become morbid in our thinking. Rather, it is a way to awaken us to the importance of what we already have. By recognizing that the things we cherish today could be gone tomorrow, we can begin to live more fully in the present moment, appreciating the simple gifts that life offers. Stoicism teaches that gratitude is not a passive feeling, but an active practice. It's not about waiting for something good to happen to us so we can feel grateful. It's about making the conscious decision to recognize and appreciate the goodness already in our lives. In addition to negative visualization, the Stoics also practiced gratitude through the art of daily reflection. At the end of each day, Marcus Aurelius would take time to reflect on his actions, his thoughts, and his experiences. He would ask himself, "What have I done well today? What can I be thankful for?" Even in the midst of difficult or challenging days, he found something to be grateful for. This habit of daily reflection helped him stay grounded in the present moment, even when the world around him was full of chaos. Another powerful practice is to express gratitude for the people in our lives. The Stoics believed that our relationships, whether with friends, family, or strangers, are a vital part of our well-being. They encouraged us to appreciate the people around us and to cultivate virtues like kindness, generosity, and empathy. When we express gratitude for others, we not only uplift them but also deepen our own sense of connection and peace. Gratitude also helps us to cultivate resilience. When we face adversity, it's easy to become consumed by what we've lost or what we don't have. But when we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what's missing to what's already present. We learn to find peace in the face of struggle, knowing that even in difficult times, there is always something to be grateful for. One of the greatest Stoic insights is that gratitude is not about ignoring the difficulties or challenges in life, but about acknowledging them without letting them define us. Life is full of ups and downs, but by practicing gratitude, we can navigate those fluctuations with a sense of inner peace. We don't need everything to be perfect in order to be thankful. In fact, it's often the imperfections and struggles that make us appreciate the moments of calm and joy even more. As you continue to cultivate gratitude in your life, remember that it's a practice, not a one-time event. Each day is an opportunity to reflect, to appreciate, and to be present. The more you practice Stoic gratitude, the more you'll realize that happiness and peace don't come from the pursuit of more. They come from learning to appreciate what's already here. If this practice resonates with you, consider subscribing. By doing so, You're committing to not only seeking gratitude but actively cultivating it in your daily life. And as you practice this, you'll find that contentment and peace aren't as far away as you thought. They're already here, waiting for you to notice. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll discuss how Stoicism teaches us to live with intention and purpose, even in the midst of uncertainty. In a world filled with distractions and endless demands on our time, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We can get caught up in the hustle, the busyness, the chase for success and recognition, and forget to ask ourselves, what is the purpose behind all of this? Stoicism teaches us that to live a fulfilling life, we must live with intention, not merely reacting to the world around us, but choosing how we want to engage with it. The Stoic concept of living with intention is closely tied to the idea of living in alignment with our values. We don't just follow the crowd or do things because they are expected of us. Instead, we ask ourselves, what do I truly want to achieve? What is most important to me? What kind of person do I want to be? These questions help us focus on what we can control: our actions, our mindset, and our decisions. One of the foundational principles of Stoicism is the idea of living in accordance with nature, which includes living in harmony with our true selves. This means understanding our strengths, our weaknesses, and our values, and making decisions that align with who we are at our core. When we are aligned with our values, our actions become purposeful and deliberate, rather than reactive or impulsive. We are no longer driven by the expectations of others or by external pressures, but by a deeper sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, was deeply committed to this idea of living with intention. In his meditations, he frequently reflected on his role in the world and his responsibilities as a ruler. He was constantly reminding himself to act in accordance with his principles and to focus on what was truly important: serving others, doing his duty, and living with integrity. His example shows us that living with intention is not just about grand gestures or dramatic actions. It's about consistently making small decisions that reflect our values, even when no one is watching. One key Stoic practice for living with intention is to engage in regular self-reflection. The Stoics didn't wait until the end of their lives to reflect on their actions. They did so daily. Marcus Aurelius, for example, would take time each day to assess how he had lived, what he had done well, and where he could improve. This habit of daily reflection helped him stay focused on his values and avoid getting swept up in the distractions of the world. Through self-reflection, we gain clarity on our intentions and can course-correct when necessary. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, but when we take the time to reflect on our actions and decisions, we can ensure that we are moving in the direction of our true purpose. This practice of intentional living also helps us stay grounded in our values, especially when we face external pressure to conform or take shortcuts. Another Stoic practice for living with intention is to define our goals and priorities. It's not enough to simply act. We must have a clear sense of what we want to achieve and why. The Stoics believed that every action should be done with purpose, and that we should always have a clear reason for why we do what we do. By setting clear intentions, we avoid wasting time and energy on things that don't matter. We focus on what is truly important, and we make decisions based on our values and long-term goals, not on immediate gratification or external validation. Living with intention also means taking responsibility for our actions. The Stoics taught that we are responsible for how we respond to the world around us. No matter what happens to us, we have the power to choose how we react. This is a powerful concept because it shifts the focus from external circumstances to internal control. When we take responsibility for our actions, we stop blaming others or external events for our unhappiness. Instead, we focus on how we can respond with wisdom and integrity, even when things don't go as planned. This sense of responsibility is particularly important when it comes to our relationships with others. The Stoics believed that we have a duty to treat others with kindness, respect, and fairness. But they also taught us that we should not rely on others for our happiness or peace of mind. We are responsible for cultivating our own inner peace, and we should not let the behavior of others disturb our sense of calm. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoic intention is the ability to live in the present moment. We are often tempted to dwell on the past, regretting our mistakes, or worrying about the future, fearing what might happen. But the Stoics remind us that we can only act in the present. Our power lies in how we choose to use this moment, and in how we respond to the challenges and opportunities that arise. When we live with intention, we stop reacting to life on autopilot. Instead, we choose how we want to engage with each situation based on our values and principles. This mindfulness allows us to move through life with purpose, rather than being swept along by the current. And as we make more intentional choices, we begin to create a life that is more fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with who we truly are. If you're ready to start living with more intention, consider subscribing. By doing so, you're committing to a life of purpose, to making choices that reflect your values, and to taking responsibility for the kind of person you want to be. The path of Stoicism is a journey, but every step you take brings you closer to living the life you were meant to lead. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to remain steady in the face of adversity. Life is full of uncertainty, and challenges are inevitable. Whether it's a sudden change in circumstances, a personal loss, or an unexpected setback, adversity can shake us to our core. But Stoicism teaches us that adversity is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. In fact, the Stoics believed that adversity, if approached with the right mindset, could be one of the most powerful tools for growth and self-mastery. The essence of Stoic resilience is the ability to remain steady no matter what life throws at you. The Stoics didn't teach that we should avoid pain or hardship, but rather that we should prepare ourselves for it. When we prepare ourselves mentally for the inevitable difficulties of life, we stop being caught off guard by them. We recognize that hardship is not a personal attack or something that needs to be avoided at all costs. It's simply part of the human experience. One of the most powerful Stoic principles for dealing with adversity is the idea of amor fati, the love of fate. This means embracing everything that happens to us, both the good and the bad, as part of our journey. Rather than resisting difficult circumstances or wishing that things were different, we learn to accept them as part of the natural flow of life. The Stoics didn't see adversity as something to be defeated or overcome. Instead, they saw it as an opportunity to grow stronger, to practice their virtues, and to become more aligned with their true nature. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often wrote about accepting the difficulties of life with grace. He saw each obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtues like patience, courage, and wisdom. He didn't waste energy lamenting the challenges he faced. Instead, he focused on how he could respond to them in the most virtuous way. He reminded himself that the only thing in his control was his response to events, and that every moment, even the hardest ones, was a chance to improve himself. The Stoics teach us that adversity is not something we can avoid, but something we can navigate with wisdom and strength. When we approach challenges with the mindset that they are opportunities for growth, we change our relationship to them. We no longer view them as burdens, but as chances to practice resilience, fortitude, and patience. Epictetus, another key Stoic philosopher, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This teaching highlights the importance of our internal response to external events. We can't control the circumstances we face, but we can control how we choose to engage with them. This is where the Stoic practice of mindfulness comes into play. When adversity strikes, we can pause and choose our response, rather than reacting impulsively or emotionally. In this pause, we regain our power and restore our sense of inner peace. To remain steady in the face of adversity, the Stoics also encouraged us to practice gratitude. Gratitude is often associated with positive experiences, but the Stoics taught that we should also be grateful for the difficulties we encounter. Each challenge offers us an opportunity to practice resilience, to deepen our understanding of ourselves, and to develop our character. By cultivating an attitude of gratitude toward life's challenges, we transform adversity from a burden into a blessing. One of the most effective Stoic practices for dealing with adversity is to engage in premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is the practice of imagining worst-case scenarios in advance. By mentally preparing ourselves for difficulties before they arise, we reduce their emotional impact when they do happen. We are no longer blindsided by hardship. Instead, we approach it with a sense of readiness and calm, knowing that we have already mentally prepared for it. This practice does not make us anxious or fearful, it makes us resilient. It strengthens our ability to face whatever comes our way without panic or distress. In addition to preparing for adversity, the Stoics also taught us the importance of perspective. When we face difficulties, it's easy to get caught up in the moment, to view the challenge as insurmountable or overwhelming. But Stoicism teaches us to zoom out and see the bigger picture. In the grand scheme of things, most challenges are temporary. Even the most painful experiences will eventually pass. By keeping this long-term perspective in mind, we can navigate adversity with more grace and less emotional turmoil. Another key Stoic practice for staying steady in difficult times is inner detachment. This doesn't mean withdrawing from life or becoming indifferent to what's happening around us. Rather, it means cultivating the ability to separate our internal peace from external events. We don't allow ourselves to be rocked by the ups and downs of life. We don't attach our happiness to fleeting circumstances or the approval of others. Instead, we find our peace within, and we draw on our internal strength to face whatever challenges come our way. This sense of inner detachment helps us remain calm and steady when life gets turbulent. It allows us to move through challenges without losing our sense of purpose or direction. As the Stoics taught, true peace is found within, not in external circumstances. When we cultivate this inner peace, we stop reacting impulsively to the events around us, and instead, we respond with wisdom and clarity. Remaining steady in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful practices of Stoicism. It's not about avoiding hardship, but about developing the resilience and strength to face it with grace. When we approach life's challenges with the mindset that they are opportunities for growth, we transform them into stepping stones on our path to wisdom and virtue. If you're ready to live a more steady and resilient life, consider subscribing. The path of Stoicism is one of continuous growth and self-mastery, and every step you take brings you closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Next, let's explore how Stoicism teaches us to let go of our attachment to outcomes, and how this shift can bring greater peace and clarity to our lives. In life, we often attach ourselves to outcomes. We set goals, chase dreams, and hold on tightly to what we believe will bring us happiness and success. But what happens when things don't go as planned? What happens when the outcome is out of our control? Stoicism teaches us that our attachment to specific outcomes is one of the primary sources of our suffering. The more tightly we cling to something, the more vulnerable we become to disappointment, frustration, and despair when it slips away. But the Stoics offer us a different path, a path of freedom and peace that comes from letting go of attachment. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus not on the results, but on our actions. We cannot always control the outcome, but we can always control how we choose to respond. When we let go of our attachment to specific outcomes, we free ourselves from the anxiety that comes from trying to predict or control the future. Instead, we focus on what is within our control, our effort, our mindset, and our values. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself that his power lay not in controlling external events, but in controlling his thoughts and actions. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This simple but profound insight is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. When we stop trying to control everything around us, we stop giving away our power. Instead of trying to bend reality to our will, we focus on mastering our internal world. And in doing so, we discover a deeper sense of freedom. The Stoics were not suggesting that we should stop caring about the things we desire or that we should stop pursuing our goals. Far from it. Stoicism teaches us to be passionate about our pursuits, but with a sense of detachment. We give our best effort, and we focus on doing what is right, but we do not tie our sense of worth or happiness to the result. Whether we succeed or fail, we can find peace in knowing that we have acted with integrity and in accordance with our values. This principle is illustrated beautifully by the Stoic practice of objective judgment. The Stoics believed that we should not judge the value of an event based on its outcome alone. For example, if we lose a job, we might initially feel anger, sadness, or fear. But the Stoics would encourage us to ask, what can I learn from this? What is the opportunity in this situation? Instead of attaching ourselves to the idea of keeping the job or seeing the loss as failure, we shift our perspective to focus on what we can control: the lesson, the growth, and the next step. The practice of letting go of attachment to outcomes also means accepting that we may never get what we want. Life is unpredictable, and there is no guarantee that our efforts will lead to success. But by releasing our attachment to the outcome, we open ourselves up to a deeper peace. We can still work hard, strive for excellence, and pursue our passions, but we stop expecting a certain result. And when we stop expecting, we are free to be present and at peace with the journey itself. Another powerful aspect of this Stoic principle is the recognition that our happiness does not depend on external circumstances. When we attach our happiness to something outside of ourselves, a job, a relationship, or material success, we make ourselves vulnerable to disappointment. These things are fleeting, and they can be taken from us at any time. But when we detach our happiness from outcomes and focus instead on cultivating inner peace, we create a sense of stability that is not dependent on the ups and downs of life. This is not to say that we should become indifferent or apathetic. Stoicism is about passion and purpose, but it is also about balance and perspective. When we let go of attachment to outcomes, we are not giving up on our goals. We are simply freeing ourselves from the emotional turmoil that comes from placing too much importance on a specific result. We learn to enjoy the process, to find fulfillment in the effort itself, and to accept the result, whatever it may be, with equanimity. The practice of letting go of attachment is particularly helpful when facing failure. When things don't go our way, it's easy to become discouraged and to feel like all our efforts have been in vain. But the Stoics remind us that failure is not a reflection of our worth. It's simply a part of the process. Every failure carries a lesson, an opportunity for growth. When we detach from the need for success, we can see failure as a valuable experience rather than a source of shame or frustration. One of the most important aspects of this practice is learning to be content with what is. The Stoics believed that contentment is not about having more, but about learning to be satisfied with what we already have. Instead of constantly striving for something we don't have, we focus on appreciating what we do have. This doesn't mean we stop setting goals or working toward improvement. It means we find peace in the present moment, in the process, and in the effort itself. The Stoic practice of letting go of attachment can be transformative. It frees us from the tyranny of expectations and allows us to approach life with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. When we stop tying our happiness to external outcomes, we find that true contentment comes from within. We can still pursue our goals, but we do so with a sense of peace, knowing that our worth is not tied to the result. If this principle resonates with you, consider subscribing. By doing so, you're committing to living with greater freedom and peace. The path of Stoicism is a journey of continual growth and self-discovery, and every step you take brings you closer to true contentment. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how to build wisdom through experience and how we can use every moment to learn and grow. The pursuit of wisdom is one of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy. Wisdom isn't simply about acquiring knowledge, it's about applying that knowledge in our daily lives. It's about learning from every experience, reflecting on our mistakes, and continuously improving our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not something we are born with, it's something we build over a lifetime, through reflection, experience, and thoughtful action. The first step toward building wisdom is to embrace the mindset of a student, no matter where we are in life. The Stoics believed that the wisest individuals are those who are constantly learning, who approach each day with humility, and who are open to new perspectives. They understood that no one ever arrives at wisdom. It's a continuous process of growth, refinement, and learning. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that no matter how high his status as emperor, he was still a student of life. In his meditations, he would reflect on his own shortcomings and consider how he could improve. This self-reflection was not an act of self-criticism, but an effort to understand his actions, to learn from his mistakes, and to cultivate greater wisdom. He acknowledged that the path to wisdom was never easy, but he embraced it as a lifelong pursuit. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of learning from experience. He taught that wisdom is not just about thinking but about doing. It's not enough to read philosophical texts or engage in intellectual debate. We must put our knowledge into practice. We learn through our actions, by facing challenges, and by reflecting on our responses to the world around us. One of the most important Stoic practices for building wisdom is regular reflection. The Stoics didn't wait until the end of their lives to reflect on their actions. They did so daily. At the end of each day, Marcus Aurelius would reflect on how he had lived, what he had done well, and where he could improve. This daily practice helped him stay focused on his values and goals, and it allowed him to learn from each experience. This practice of self-reflection is something we can all apply in our own lives. At the end of each day, take a moment to ask yourself, what did I learn today? How did I handle challenges? What could I have done differently? By regularly reflecting on our experiences, we become more attuned to our patterns of behavior and our responses to situations. This self-awareness is key to growth and wisdom. Another key Stoic practice for building wisdom is to seek out feedback from others. The Stoics understood that we cannot see ourselves clearly all the time. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we are always right or that our way of doing things is the best. But true wisdom comes from being open to criticism and learning from those around us. By seeking feedback from trusted friends, mentors, or colleagues, we gain new perspectives that can help us grow. However, it's important to approach feedback with the right mindset. The Stoics taught that we should not take criticism personally or let our ego get in the way. Instead, we should view feedback as a gift, an opportunity to learn and improve. When we approach feedback with humility and openness, we can turn it into a powerful tool for growth. The Stoics also believed that wisdom is built through experience, especially through the hardships we face. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to view these challenges as obstacles to be avoided. But the Stoics saw them differently. They believed that every difficulty, every setback, every failure is an opportunity to practice wisdom. When things go wrong, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can this experience help me become a better person? This perspective is key to building wisdom. When we embrace hardship as an opportunity for growth, we stop seeing failure as something to be feared. Instead, we see it as a stepping stone on the path to wisdom. The Stoics taught that true wisdom comes not from avoiding difficulties, but from learning how to navigate them with grace, patience, and insight. One of the ways the Stoics built wisdom was through the practice of meditation. This wasn't meditation in the modern sense, but rather a daily practice of reflection and contemplation. The Stoics would meditate on their actions, their emotions, and the world around them, considering how they could better align their thoughts and behaviors with their values. This kind of meditation helped them develop clarity and insight, allowing them to make wiser decisions in the future. As you continue on your journey of building wisdom, remember that it's a lifelong pursuit. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Wisdom comes through experience, through reflection, and through a willingness to learn from every situation. Every moment of your life is an opportunity to practice and build wisdom. If you're ready to embrace this path of growth and learning, consider subscribing. The journey to wisdom is a process of continuous improvement, and each step you take brings you closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to cultivate virtues like courage, temperance, and justice in our everyday lives. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the idea that living a virtuous life is the key to true happiness and inner peace. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is not a lofty or abstract ideal. It is the foundation of everything we do, the measure of our character, and the source of our strength. The Stoics believed that by cultivating virtues such as courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom, we align ourselves with our true nature and build a life of meaning and fulfillment. The first and most essential Stoic virtue is wisdom, the ability to see things clearly and to act in accordance with reason. Wisdom is the foundation of all the other virtues. It allows us to discern what is truly important and guides us in making choices that are aligned with our values. But wisdom isn't just about knowing what is right, it's about consistently putting that knowledge into practice. The second Stoic virtue is courage. Courage is often misunderstood as simply the absence of fear, but for the Stoics, courage is the ability to act in alignment with your values, even when fear is present. It's about standing firm in the face of adversity, facing challenges head-on, and doing what is right even when it is difficult. Courage is not about fearlessness, but about choosing to move forward despite fear. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the essence of Stoic courage. When obstacles arise, we don't avoid them. We confront them, knowing that they are opportunities to practice virtue. Whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, or the fear of the unknown, courage allows us to take the necessary steps forward, trusting in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. The third virtue, temperance, is the practice of self-control and moderation. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek more pleasure, more success, more recognition, temperance teaches us to be content with what we have and to avoid excess. It's about finding balance in our desires and not allowing ourselves to be ruled by impulse or craving. Temperance is the ability to enjoy the good things in life without becoming attached to them or letting them take over our lives. Seneca famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This quote encapsulates the essence of temperance. True freedom comes from the ability to control our desires and impulses, rather than letting them control us. When we practice temperance, we develop the discipline to choose what is best for us in the long term, rather than giving in to immediate gratification. The fourth Stoic virtue is justice, the commitment to fairness, integrity, and doing what is right, even when it is inconvenient. Justice is about recognizing the inherent dignity of others and treating them with respect and compassion. But it's also about acting in accordance with what is just, even when no one is watching. The Stoics believed that true justice comes from within, that it is about acting in alignment with our moral principles, regardless of the external circumstances. Justice is not only about fairness in our dealings with others, it's also about being just with ourselves. It's about holding ourselves accountable for our actions and ensuring that we are living in accordance with our values. When we practice justice, we cultivate a sense of integrity that is not dependent on external recognition or validation. We do what is right because it is right, not because it will bring us praise or reward. The Stoics believed that the cultivation of these virtues is the key to living a good life. But they also recognized that cultivating virtue is a lifelong process. It is not something we achieve overnight. Instead, it is something we must work on every day through small, deliberate actions. Each decision we make, each moment we face, is an opportunity to practice and strengthen these virtues. For the Stoics, virtue was not just about doing the right thing, it was about becoming the right kind of person. By cultivating wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, we build a character that is aligned with our highest ideals. We don't measure our success by external achievements or recognition, but by the quality of our actions and the integrity with which we live our lives. To practice virtue is to live intentionally, to make decisions that reflect our highest values, and to take responsibility for our actions. It is about being consistent in our thoughts, words, and deeds. The Stoics didn't believe in perfection, they believed in progress. They understood that we would make mistakes, that we would fall short of our ideals, but they also believed that every moment is an opportunity to try again, to do better, and to continue growing. If this resonates with you, and you're ready to start cultivating these virtues in your own life, consider subscribing. Each step you take toward building virtue brings you closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. A person of wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. These are the qualities that create a life of true meaning and fulfillment. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how to maintain emotional balance in the face of external chaos and uncertainty. Emotions are a natural part of being human. We feel joy, sorrow, excitement, anger, and everything in between. But for the Stoics, emotions are not something to be suppressed or ignored. Instead, they are seen as an opportunity to practice self-control and wisdom. The Stoics recognized that while we cannot always control our emotions, we can control how we respond to them. Emotional balance, then, is not about eliminating feelings, but about cultivating the ability to manage and respond to them in a way that aligns with our values. The Stoic approach to emotions centers around understanding that our feelings are not dictated by external events, but by our judgments about those events. When something happens, we don't just react instinctively. We interpret the event, assign meaning to it, and based on that interpretation, we feel a certain way. This is a crucial insight because it shows that while we can't always control the events that occur, we do have control over how we perceive them and how we choose to respond emotionally. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle is at the heart of emotional balance. The Stoics believed that we could train ourselves to see things differently, to change our interpretations of events, and thus change the way we feel about them. This doesn't mean denying our feelings or pretending that we don't experience negative emotions. It means developing the ability to observe our emotions without being controlled by them. The first step to maintaining emotional balance is to develop awareness of our emotions as they arise. Instead of reacting impulsively to a situation, whether with anger, frustration, or anxiety, the Stoics encourage us to pause and reflect. In that moment of pause, we ask ourselves, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Is this feeling based on something I can control or change? And most importantly, is my emotional response aligned with my values and principles? This practice of mindfulness, or being present with our emotions, helps us avoid the trap of mindlessly reacting to external circumstances. It allows us to recognize that our emotional responses are often based on our judgments and that we can choose to change those judgments. For example, if someone insults us, we might feel angry or hurt. But instead of allowing that anger to control us, we can pause and remind ourselves that the insult is not a reflection of our worth, but rather a reflection of the other person's mindset. This shift in perspective helps us detach from the emotion and respond with greater clarity and composure. Another powerful Stoic practice for emotional balance is negative visualization. By imagining the worst-case scenario, we mentally prepare ourselves for adversity. This doesn't mean living in fear or anxiety, but rather accepting that difficulties are a natural part of life. By anticipating potential challenges, we can prevent ourselves from being emotionally overwhelmed when they arise. When something difficult happens, it's not a shock to the system. It's something we've already mentally prepared for, and we can respond to it with calm and wisdom. The Stoics also taught that we must detach our emotions from our attachment to external things. In other words, we must learn not to base our happiness or emotional stability on things we cannot control, like the approval of others, material possessions, or fleeting success. True emotional balance comes from within. It's about cultivating an inner peace that isn't swayed by external circumstances. This inner peace doesn't mean being cold or indifferent to the world. It means being grounded in your values, no matter what happens outside of you. One of the key Stoic insights is that our emotional responses are often rooted in our desires and attachments. We desire approval, success, wealth, and pleasure, and when we don't get what we want, we feel disappointment, frustration, or resentment. The Stoics believed that in order to maintain emotional balance, we must examine these desires and learn to let go of attachment to them. When we stop seeking external validation and start finding fulfillment in our own actions, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster that comes with the pursuit of things we cannot control. This is where the virtue of temperance comes into play. Temperance is not just about controlling our physical desires, but about moderating our emotional attachments. By practicing temperance, we learn to find joy in simple things, to appreciate what we have, and to detach from the desire for more. When we practice temperance, we cultivate emotional balance because we no longer depend on external circumstances to dictate our happiness. Another aspect of emotional balance is the ability to forgive. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or anger only drains our emotional energy and clouds our judgment. The Stoics believed that forgiveness is essential for inner peace. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of holding on to negative feelings. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior or letting others off the hook. It means releasing our emotional attachment to the wrong that was done, so that we can move forward with peace and clarity. The Stoics also taught that we must not be ruled by our emotions, but that we should allow our emotions to be informed by our rational thinking. When we feel anger or fear rising, we can choose to pause and evaluate the situation rationally. Does this emotion serve us? Is it based on a true understanding of the situation, or is it an exaggerated response to an imagined threat? By applying reason to our emotions, we regain control over them and prevent them from controlling us. Lastly, the Stoics emphasized the importance of practicing gratitude in the face of adversity. When we encounter challenges, it's easy to focus on what we've lost or what's going wrong. But the Stoics remind us that even in difficult times, we can find something to be grateful for. Gratitude helps us shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. It allows us to appreciate the lessons, growth, and opportunities that come from difficult situations. When we practice gratitude, we cultivate a sense of peace that is independent of our external circumstances. By practicing these Stoic principles, we can maintain emotional balance even in the most challenging situations. We can learn to respond to our emotions with wisdom and clarity rather than letting them control us. Emotional balance doesn't mean suppressing our feelings. It means developing the ability to observe them, reflect on them, and respond in alignment with our values. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing. By subscribing, you're taking the first step toward mastering your emotions and cultivating a life of greater peace and clarity. The Stoic path is not about avoiding emotions. It's about learning to navigate them with wisdom so that we can live a life that is both meaningful and balanced. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how Stoicism helps us face life's challenges with a calm and steady mind. Life is full of challenges. Whether it's a difficult decision at work, a personal struggle, or unexpected hardship, the ability to face challenges with calm and clarity is one of the greatest gifts that Stoicism offers. The Stoics recognize that while we cannot always control the circumstances we face, we do have control over how we respond to them. The true test of our character comes not in the absence of adversity, but in how we maintain our composure in the face of it. The Stoic approach to challenges begins with the understanding that life is unpredictable. Nothing is guaranteed, and things can change in an instant. When we accept this reality, we are no longer taken by surprise when challenges arise. Instead of reacting with shock, frustration, or panic, we learn to approach challenges with a calm, measured response. One of the foundational Stoic principles is the idea of preparing for adversity before it happens. This concept is known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice involves imagining worst-case scenarios and mentally preparing for them. By considering potential challenges in advance, we reduce their emotional impact when they actually occur. Instead of feeling blindsided by adversity, we are ready to face it with equanimity. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, frequently reminded himself that challenges were part of life's natural order. In his meditations, he wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This means that what may seem like a challenge or difficulty in our personal lives is often part of the larger order of things. By accepting this, we develop the mental fortitude to face adversity without resistance. We don't see difficulties as obstacles to be avoided, but as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. The Stoics taught that challenges are opportunities for us to practice the virtues of courage, wisdom, and temperance. When we face hardship, we are called to act with courage, to make decisions guided by reason, and to remain steadfast in the face of uncertainty. The key to maintaining calm in difficult situations is to focus on our actions and our values, rather than being consumed by the external circumstances. We cannot control the events that happen to us, but we can always control how we choose to respond. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. This is a crucial insight because it helps us to navigate challenges without being overwhelmed by them. When we face adversity, we can ask ourselves, what can I control in this situation? What actions can I take that are aligned with my values? By focusing on the things we can control, we regain our sense of agency and avoid becoming passive victims of circumstance. Another key Stoic practice for facing challenges with calm is mindfulness. When faced with adversity, it's easy to become overwhelmed by our emotions. We may feel fear, frustration, or anxiety, and these emotions can cloud our judgment. The Stoics encouraged us to develop the ability to observe our emotions without becoming controlled by them. When we feel intense emotions, we can pause, take a deep breath, and assess the situation from a place of clarity and reason. This practice of mindfulness helps us to maintain mental fortitude in the face of challenges. In addition to mindfulness, the Stoics also emphasize the importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to remain focused on our values and goals, even when external circumstances are challenging. When we face adversity, it's easy to become distracted or to act impulsively. But self-discipline allows us to stay grounded and to act with intention, even in the most difficult of circumstances. This ability to stay focused and disciplined in the face of challenge is what gives us the mental fortitude to endure and grow through adversity. It's also important to remember that challenges are not permanent. The Stoics understood that everything in life is temporary, including hardship. Just as the seasons change, so too do the difficulties we face. By keeping this perspective in mind, we prevent ourselves from becoming consumed by the weight of the moment. We recognize that hardship is a natural part of life, but it will eventually pass. This understanding gives us the patience and resilience to endure. The Stoics also taught that we should view challenges with gratitude. It may sound counterintuitive, but the Stoics believed that adversity is one of life's greatest teachers. Every challenge offers us an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. When we face difficulty with a mindset of gratitude, we transform hardship into a valuable experience. Rather than feeling defeated by adversity, we see it as a tool for our personal development. In the face of challenges, the Stoics remind us to stay true to our character. We don't change who we are based on external circumstances. Instead, we act with integrity, maintaining our principles regardless of the difficulties we face. When we remain grounded in our values, we become steady in the face of life's uncertainties. We learn to act from a place of calm strength, rather than reacting out of fear or frustration. This Stoic mindset doesn't make us immune to pain or suffering. It doesn't mean that we won't feel emotions in difficult situations. What it offers is a way to navigate those emotions with clarity and control. By focusing on what we can control, our actions, our thoughts, and our responses, we regain our sense of power and stability even in the most challenging times. If you're ready to cultivate this kind of mental fortitude and learn how to face life's challenges with calm, consider subscribing. The journey to Stoic strength is one of continual practice and growth, and every step you take brings you closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Now, let's continue with the next principle, where we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to cultivate resilience and bounce back stronger from adversity. Adversity is not just an inevitable part of life. It is also the ultimate test of our resilience. Life will challenge us, knock us down, and sometimes even make us question everything we know. But the Stoics understood that resilience is not merely about bouncing back from hardship. It's about transforming adversity into strength and wisdom. Stoicism teaches us how to endure hardship with grace and how to come out of it stronger than before. Resilience, in the Stoic sense, is rooted in the practice of accepting life as it is, rather than as we wish it would be. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. When faced with difficulty, the Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience?" This mindset shift is the foundation of Stoic resilience, seeing adversity not as a roadblock but as an opportunity for growth. One of the core Stoic practices for building resilience is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This practice involves mentally preparing for the worst-case scenarios before they happen. By imagining and reflecting on the potential hardships we might face, we reduce the shock of adversity when it comes. We also prepare ourselves mentally to handle difficulties with calm and wisdom. This proactive approach to adversity helps us build emotional and psychological resilience. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the impermanence of life. He reminded himself that everything, both good and bad, is temporary. This understanding that hardship, like everything else, will eventually pass, allows us to endure without becoming consumed by the difficulty of the moment. When we see adversity as something that will eventually fade, it becomes less overwhelming. It allows us to stay steady and calm, trusting that the storm will pass and we will emerge stronger. Epictetus also taught us to focus on what we can control in every situation. The Stoic response to adversity is not to resist or fight against it, but to acknowledge what is within our power to change and accept what is beyond our control. For example, if we lose a job or face an unexpected setback, we can't control the event itself, but we can control our response. We can decide how we will navigate this new reality, what actions we will take next, and what lessons we can learn from the experience. This focus on control is liberating because it shifts our attention away from things that cause anxiety or frustration, things we can't change, and redirects it toward what we can change, our thoughts, actions, and mindset. When we take ownership of how we respond, we build resilience because we no longer feel like helpless victims of circumstance. We are empowered by our ability to choose our response. Another key element of Stoic resilience is accepting that life is not always fair. We may encounter injustice, misfortune, or unexpected hardship that seems undeserved. But the Stoics remind us that fairness is not something we can control. What we can control is how we deal with these situations. Instead of focusing on the unfairness of life, the Stoics teach us to focus on how we respond with integrity, dignity, and wisdom. Resilience also comes from the ability to embrace discomfort. The Stoics believed that discomfort and suffering are integral parts of the human experience. Rather than avoiding or fearing discomfort, they taught us to lean into it and see it as an opportunity to practice virtue. Each moment of difficulty is an opportunity to practice patience, perseverance, and emotional control. By voluntarily subjecting ourselves to minor discomforts, like physical exercise, fasting, or self-discipline, we strengthen our ability to endure greater challenges in the future. Seneca, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, believed that difficulties are not meant to break us, but to strengthen us. He wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." In the same way that lifting weights challenges and strengthens the body, challenges in life test and strengthen the mind. When we face difficulties and learn from them, we build mental fortitude and resilience. One of the most transformative aspects of Stoic resilience is the focus on inner peace and equanimity. The Stoics understood that external events cannot disturb our peace unless we allow them to. Our thoughts, not the events themselves, determine our emotional state. When we cultivate an inner sense of peace, we are less likely to be thrown off course by external challenges. We develop the strength to face difficulties without being overwhelmed by them. This inner peace is the foundation of resilience because it helps us remain steady even when the external world is chaotic. Finally, the Stoics remind us that we are never alone in our struggles. Throughout history, great philosophers, leaders, and thinkers have faced adversity. By reading the works of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, we connect with their wisdom and recognize that they, too, faced challenges. Their example reminds us that resilience is not a solitary endeavor. It's something that has been practiced by those who came before us. Their writings serve as a guide for how we can face our own challenges with grace and wisdom. Resilience is not just about surviving difficulties, it's about growing through them. It's about taking every setback, every failure, and every hardship as an opportunity to practice virtue, build character, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world. The Stoic path is one of continuous growth, learning, and transformation. If you're ready to build greater resilience in your life, consider subscribing. The journey to Stoic resilience is about embracing challenges with the mindset that they are opportunities for growth. By following these principles, you can cultivate the mental strength and emotional fortitude to handle anything life throws your way.